after holding this inside for 32 years, with me just retiring, I'm going to tell this story. But once I joined the Air Force, I was made the Chief of Aerospace Medicine at Cape Canaveral. I had to oversee the medical aspects of all of the launch operations at Cape Canaveral. That day I had decided I would go up to the Cape and spend time, because most of the time I was in the flight surgeon's office back at Patrick Air Force. I had to oversee what the contractors were doing. They're going to show me this thing. It's the last thing I'm going to look at the Cape, and then I'm going home. No big deal. As I'm leaving the prep room, this guy's standing there and he says, "Hey, I want to show you something." I just thought, what's he going to show me? He convinced me to go into the room. As soon as we go into the room, he shuts the door, he locks it. He flips the louvers closed. Then he sits down, he turns on the console, he turns on the computer, and he said, "This is going to blow your socks off." All of a sudden, up on the screen comes this closed circuit television feed. If you showed the hangar with my helicopter in it, it would have looked just like that, except it's not my helicopter. This thing's a flying saucer. When I saw the markings, I just thought, oh, it's an experimental aircraft. When that thing rotated and I saw U.S. Air Force and a U.S. flight insignia, I was absolutely shocked, because I've seen pictures of flying saucers doing all kinds of stuff. I never saw one that said U.S. Air Force on it. That's something totally different.
Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the goddamn internet. So today we're going to be talking about a brand new whistleblower that has broken silence after 30 years, guys. And he describes a giant motherfucking flying saucer, okay? So NASA, the ones saying they're all about transparency, we all saw that, conference they had where News Nation was asking some serious questions. And everything was denied. And NASA has long been up to some weird shit with covering up satellite images of some weird shit. But today we're going to dive right in, take a look at this, and take a look at the new whistleblower. We've got so many coming out, and this is just great to see. More things to talk about, new bombshells to uncover. Guys, subscribe, notifications on, and watch till the end, because the best parts are there as always. And please leave a like. A lot of you watching are not subscribed, so please do so. Comment, share, that helps the absolute most. And without further ado, let's watch this shit, okay? It's really good, okay? Stay with me.
As alleged UFO footage and declassified CIA files on alien encounters flood the internet stratosphere, one ex-NASA top official has revealed exclusively to the Daily Mail that the U.S. Air Force possesses a 20-foot gravity-defying flying saucer and claims he saw the footage more than 30 years ago. Former NASA Chief Flight Surgeon and Air Force Major Dr. Gregory Rogers, who worked with astronauts on several space shuttle missions, says he was shown security footage by another Air Force major in 1992 depicting the exotic craft levitating in a hangar.
Guys, I don't know about you, right? But Bob Lazar's story is seeming so much more credible the more we see people coming out, especially this individual coming out from NASA, a floating UFO hovering just in a hangar. That sounds like exactly what Bob Lazar describes, and I'm excited to see what weaponized Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp think about this, if they will be talking about it. They've recently come out with a good episode as well, and I'm guessing the next episode, which is this week, is going to be even better. So stay tuned, because we're going to be covering all of this.
He kept the secret for more than 32 years, but following his retirement from the Department of Defense last month, he has decided to come forward. Rogers, 68, said he wanted to back up other recent DoD whistleblowers who have told Congress the military has out-of-this-world spacecraft reverse-engineered from alien technology. "I know exactly what I saw that day, and it was in no fashion a conventional flying vehicle," he told the Daily Mail. I have heard a number of members of Congress express their desire to hear more of the experiences of any additional whistleblowers. Therefore, I am presenting my story. I hope that my report may stimulate others to reveal what...
Guys, there has been described so many times about people like saying the floodgates are opening, whistleblowers coming out. Is this the moment? Is this when all the whistleblowers are coming out and it's just a massive snowball effect? Or do you think it's just a big nothing burger like sometimes in the past? Stephen Greer has been really quiet. I should check out his channel and see what he's been up to. Make sure to follow me on Twitter because we follow a lot of these updates on there. So if you follow me, you can get the news really fast, and Patreon down below to get it even faster. Okay, we got some exclusive content on there. TikTok too, check that out, the TikTok, okay.
Whatever they have similarly witnessed. And then there's the video we watched. There's a picture. This says former NASA Chief Flight Surgeon and Air Force Major Dr. Gregory Rogers says he was taken into a room by an Air Force Major and shown classified footage of a UFO with U.S. insignia. I would think even though you retired from the DOD, if it was classified, how can you still talk about it? And to be fair, this whole idea that this is...
I wonder how Jesse Michaels hasn't sniffed this guy out, right? He's too busy chasing Tim Taylor. But definitely right now, then, after this, it will be on his radar. And maybe it's the next American Alchemy. Let me know what you guys think.
Spring of 1992, Rogers was stationed at the sprawling NASA facility in Cape Canaveral, Florida. It was the heyday of America's space program, a busy time of regular launches and high-profile, space shuttle missions. As chief flight surgeon, Rogers was in charge of safety inspections on the base and medical care for its personnel, including the astronauts. This sometimes involved jumping in a helicopter and fishing them out of the ocean after their capsules splashed down to Earth. One afternoon around April or May of 1992, he was about to go home after inspecting a facility on the base where satellite components were assembled, when a U.S. Air Force major approached him in the corridor. He says, "Hey, Doc, I got something to show you. It'll knock your socks off." He didn't recognize the man, but Rogers' job involved caring for hundreds of patients, so he said it was not unusual to be approached by servicemen who knew him, but whom he had forgotten. The major ushered him into a room with computers, locked the door, and closed the blinds. I'm thinking, what on earth is this guy doing? Rogers said. He sits down at the computer console. It takes...
Okay, when a military official in the US, okay, this high up, does this, closes the blinds, makes sure there's nothing, you know you're about to see some shit, okay? And he was shown this drawing or photograph. Let's check it out, guys.
Several minutes, then all of a sudden, up on the screen comes this closed-circuit television feed. Now, this says this is a drawing of the ship that Rogers mapped out for the Daily Mail. He said the ship had no apparent antennas or flight control surfaces and had about 4 horizontal rectangles spaced evenly around the middle. How does he know it had no flight control surfaces? And what exactly does that mean? Because I've heard a lot of people say that. That seems to be a term that goes around. What does that mean? And how do you know that? Just from a CCTV footage. You get all these details, you know? How can he see inside the craft? How does he know what it has?
You know what footage I really want to see? The footage from the US that exists, guys. This is a fact, okay? Of them monitoring a Russian military fleet waiting for a, anomalous object to appear in the ocean. So the Russian military knew that where this thing would dematerialize. So either they have access to this technology, they're in contact with these NHI, what the fuck is going on? But the US has to be worried if they saw this, right? And I don't know how long ago it was, but I think it's a while ago. So there has to be significant, actions taken if this occurred. And Uncle Sam or what saw this, the US, and they are worried. So I wonder what the response was overall. Let me know what you think a response would be or was.
Rogers said he didn't recognize the Air Force major who showed him the footage against his will that day, but said he was a wimpy guy who most likely wanted to show off his importance. Okay, interesting. This is a picture right here of Rogers. This is a, right here, a recommendation letter for Rogers from the DoD. At the NASA facility in Cape Canaveral, Florida, where he viewed the footage, he was the chief flight surgeon in charge of safety inspections on the base, as well as medical care for its personnel, including the astronauts. He said the footage showed a standard aircraft hangar, just like the one that housed Rogers' chopper for his work with the 41st Air Rescue Squadron. Except it's not my helicopter, he said. There's a flying saucer. I would estimate it was about 20 feet wide, probably 8 to 10 feet tall, and it had a shallow dome on top of it, he added. There were no antennas. There were no flight control surfaces. Everything was very smooth and blended. I saw no rivets, no seams, nothing. But if it's CCTV, how...
Guys, how many times are we going to have whistleblowers coming out and we don't believe them, right? Like, how many needs to come out? Is there a specific number, right? These are people with so much credential coming out and saying this thing is real. And if we have anti-gravity unlocked, we can have fucking skateboard hoverboards, right? We can have hovering everything. Hovering lamps, hovering plants, what the fuck would not be hovering, right? If we've mastered this technology and we are throwing a blanket over it and saying national security, that's not helping anyone. We're just like... we're not letting people become their full potential because, oh, we don't want that nation to develop this, right? I don't know. It just seems like so counterproductive, right?
Where are you seeing all this detail? Like, how big is this TV? This is the 90s. The screen cannot be that good, right? What kind of definition are you actually getting? It's probably not high definition. I don't know. This is interesting to me. There was a little area on top which had a stick coming out of it. At the top of it were umbilical hoses, like if you were feeding gases or electricity into it. Everything was white, but there was a vertical black rectangle at the 3 o'clock, the 6 o'clock, and the 9 o'clock position on the upper half of the vehicle. He said there were also 4 horizontal rectangles spaced evenly around the middle. My mind was going crazy, Rogers said. A flying saucer? Are you kidding me? He said the footage showed a standard aircraft hangar, just like the one that housed Rogers' helicopter for his work, right? This is interesting. So this is color security footage, right? Because he's able to see colors. So that's interesting. I'm not saying that didn't exist, because it did. Rogers said the most jaw-dropping... right here, y'all. Rogers said the most jaw-dropping part of the footage was when the ship hovered, remained stationary, and then made a 45-degree tilt, suggesting it had some unknown propulsion technology. This is a picture of Rogers, by the way. The ex-NASA doctor said the footage showed several men, some in lab coats, some in hazmat-type bodysuits, busy around the vehicle. Why would some only need to be in lab coats and others need to be in hazmat suits? I feel like if there's people around you in hazmat suits, you're going, where is my hazmat suit? You know what I mean? Why am I not getting one of those? I don't know. That seems a little unusual that they'd be around each other. Then, on the audio feed, okay, he heard a loud horn-type sound, and the technicians moved out of the shot. What happened next surprised him. I hear and see things that look like electromagnetic charges coming off this vehicle, but there's no devices from which they're emanating. All of a sudden, it just lifted up as smooth as can be. Once it got up maybe 3 feet above the concrete surface, it rotated completely around clockwise, 1 revolution. Then it revolved counterclockwise, 1 revolution. The rotation revealed writing on one side. It said, U.S. Air Force, and it had the U.S. flying insignia, he said. I'm thinking, this is ours? At some point, I asked the guy, why on earth would we design something like this? He said, we got it from them. And he was pointing his thumb up to the sky. We got it from them, right? I guess something like that. We got it from them. Which I interpreted as meaning from space. Then something really caught my attention. Why wouldn't you ask that? What do you mean we got it from them? Aliens? Why wouldn't you ask that, right? Rogers said the entire craft tipped sideways 45 degrees, but remained stationary, hovering in the air. He said this one maneuver shocked him the most because it showed the craft use some unknown propulsion technology. If a helicopter tips forward while hovering, the thrust from its propellers will force it to move forward. Some military fixed-wing aircraft like the F-35B can take off vertically, but only by using large exterior jets pointed towards the ground, and it would require other jets on its side to stay in place while tipping forward. Rogers, an experienced Air Force pilot, said there was no sign of any such jets on this smooth white saucer. Exactly. And the only reason aircraft go to a 45-degree angle is to move forward. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. So if this craft doesn't need to do that to move forward, why would it just tilt at 45 degrees for no reason at all? It's not to help it move forward because it doesn't need that, right? See, this part doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense. This is Rogers' wife, Judy, holding a picture of her wartime pilot father, Ellis Sappington, a crew member of the aircraft that tailed after the plane that dropped the nuclear bomb on Hiroshima. Rogers' signed photo from the crew of the 1993 Space Shuttle mission STS-57. He blew the whistle before when he discovered the space shuttles for the 90s STS space shuttles were unsafe and pleaded to NASA but was ignored, allegedly leading to the Columbia Space Shuttle explosion in 2003. That's interesting. So he's been a whistleblower before for NASA and kept his job. But this he decided to wait on. Why wouldn't he have said, hey, why aren't we using this technology on our shuttles? We could be saving people's lives, right? Again, strange. That blew me away because none of the aircraft we have can do that, he said. Just after the saucer on the video performed its 45-degree tilt, Rogers said there was a knock at the door. Somebody was saying, hey, what's going on in there? Why is the door locked? The moment that happened, this major turns off everything, Rogers said. Then he leans over to me in a very serious voice and says, don't tell anyone that I showed this to you. He opens the door, and this lieutenant colonel and two other guys in blue United States Air Force suits walk in. The major said, I had a skin lesion. I wanted to check to see if it's okay. My mind was racing. If I've seen something classified that was shown to me illegally, Rogers said, I just think I've got to get out of here. So I said, yeah, it wasn't cancer. I've got to go back to my clinic. This just seems so strange, right? It just seems straight out of a movie. Just straight out of like totally a movie, which is unusual. Why would this Air Force major go to Rogers just to show him this if it could get him in trouble? To show off for what? He doesn't even know him. Show off, wouldn't you show off to your friends, not to some randoms? Is Rogers so, he's not like this celebrity on the base that he needs to show him this. So, and then you would have to ask, wouldn't this major have shown it to other people too and done the same thing? Or this is the only time he sort of brought in somebody and said, hey, look at this, man. You're not supposed to see it. And then basically lie to your superiors when they come into the room. What? But he's also a whistleblower. So he blew the whistle in NASA about something else in the Columbia Space Shuttle mission, right? The STS flights. But then with this, he's willing to lie to a superior to cover up this propulsion technology that could very well save astronauts. And you're in charge of their medical, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't get it. Rogers said he hadn't told his wife about what he had seen for 15 years and that he was breaking his silence publicly due to the influx of disclosures that have come out recently on UAPs. Okay. That's fair. Rogers said he never spoke to the major or visited that facility again, and to this day does not know why the United States Air Force officer chose to show him the shocking video. On the way home from Cape Canaveral down to Patrick Air Force Base, that's mine, y'all, 25 or 30 minutes, the whole time I'm thinking there was no way on earth I can tell anyone that I just saw a flying saucer. But you can, right? Again, if Rogers blew the whistle before to help save astronauts' lives, why wouldn't you blow the whistle about this to save astronauts' life? If we have that kind of technology implemented into the space shuttles and bing, bang, boom, Tom's your uncle, or whatever the saying is, you know what I mean? Like, I guess I just don't get that part. I would ask Rogers that respectfully, of course. This guy trapped me by showing me something I didn't want to see, but there was not a thing I could do about it. I absolutely resent being a part of the events of that day. I didn't even tell my wife for 15 years. Rogers said he never spoke to the major or visited that facility again, and to this day does not know why the United States officer chose to show him the shocking video. My personal opinion is that he was trying to say, look, I'm important, Rogers said. He seemed like a really wimpy guy. That's interesting. But why say, look, I'm important to you? Does that mean he showed it to other people? The Doctor pilot was used to keeping military secrets, having flown clandestine missions behind Soviet lines from a base in West Germany during the Cold War in the mid-1980s. But he also has experience blowing the whistle on powerful government institutions. Exactly. So why not blow the whistle back then about this? During testing of the space shuttles used for NASA's STS missions in the 1990s, it became clear that thermal protection tiles on the orbiter's wings were vulnerable to damage during its ascent. Here's Rogers right here and all kinds of different photos we can see. During his Air Force career, Rogers flew clandestine missions behind Soviet lines from a base in West Germany during the Cold War in the mid-1980s. The 2003 explosion of the Columbia Space Shuttle, which caused the death of all 7 crew members on board. So he knew about this advanced propulsion technology before the space shuttle, but he's blowing it about what they're using, even though there's other technology that would have saved the day. Does that make sense? This could cause a deadly disaster during the fiery process of re-entering the Earth's atmosphere on its return. In a safety role, Rogers said he repeatedly pleaded with NASA leadership to put a repair kit on board, allowing astronauts to repair any damage in space before returning home. Okay, well then tell them about the advanced propulsion system. He even wrote the 1999 novel Impact about a fictional NASA crew facing this threat. But he says he was ignored until disaster struck on February 1st, 2003, when that exact issue caused the explosion of the Columbia Space Shuttle and the death of its 7 crew members. People knew that the danger I spoke of in 95 was real. They still decided we're not going to do anything about it. It's too politically charged. Well, to be fair, Rogers doing the same thing. He decided not to reveal this information 30 years ago when he knew about it and he knew it could save astronauts' lives. So it's kind of, that's a weird catch-22 conundrum. I would really, why are they not asking about this? They're kind of using it to say, look, he blew the whistle before. We should listen to him now. But yeah, but he knew this information before he blew the whistle before. Why didn't he blow the whistle then? Rogers sees the same pattern with UFOs, saying leaders are in denial about what the government calls unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAP. It's the same mentality, he said. We are having videos from FA-18s and other government sources that are showing these things are here. We don't even have to debate anymore. Are UAPs real? We know they're real. All right, this is a Rogers recommendation letter from NASA. He said some of the astronauts he befriended during his time at NASA told him they saw UFOs accompanying their craft flying through space. That's interesting. So different astronauts he spoke to talked about other UFOs following them. This is a photo of an alleged UFO in Tonbridge, Kent in 2002. Rogers said the stigma around UFOs has prevented him from naming the astronauts who have seen them on space flights. So he's not going to name the astronauts that told him that. All right. The only thing keeping the government from admitting that is sheer stubbornness at the upper levels, and that gets me as mad as at the NASA engineers. Through the publication of his 1990 book, he became friendly with astronaut Buzz Aldrin, the second man to walk on the moon. He also worked with several other spacewalkers at NASA. Rogers said some, who he declined to name, told him they saw UFOs accompanying their craft flying through space. Astronauts have discussed UAPs with me, vehicles that were not part of the human space program, as far as we know. being in near location to the spacecraft. Even flying in formation with them is not uncommon. They've seen these things. He said these incidents occurred during International Space Station missions, space shuttle missions, and missions to and from the moon. But he said the stigma around UFOs prevented him from naming names. If you're in the astronaut corps and want to fly on the next mission, you're not going to improve your odds by telling somebody, oh yeah, last time I was up, I saw a flying saucer, he said. Rogers says the existence of an Air Force flying saucer program, evidenced by the alleged CCTV footage he saw, shows that some of the military are lying to lawmakers. Someone had to design and manufacture the vehicle I saw on that video, he said. Someone, somewhere, had to pay for the research and development of this vehicle. I believe that this monetary expenditure should have been identified to Congress since they hold the power of the purse over all military spending. Rogers said he was not a UFO enthusiast before his chance experience and recent testimony by whistleblowers. But now, in his retirement, he has joined the board of Oklahoma-based charity International UFO Bureau and is helping witnesses investigate alleged encounters. International UFO Bureau, founded in 1957, says it is the oldest UFO organization in existence, with the mission to provide comprehensive, data-driven insights and inform public understanding, scientific exploration, and global policy. So it sounds like trying to get people behind this with this story, right? And this International UFO Bureau was connected to that UFO podcaster that I was telling you about, right? I saw all this before, days leading up. So they're kind of teasing this. And this is the CEO of the International UFO Bureau, Mindy Tautfest. All right, so this is the last part of the article. Led by Mindy Tautfest, the nonprofit is currently compiling databases on UFO incidents and using artificial intelligence to filter information and spot trends. Rogers now joins a growing number of whistleblowers telling lawmakers that we have recovered and replicated alien spacecraft. He said it was testimony from others that finally persuaded him to come forward. In 2023, senior DOD intelligence officer David Grush came forward telling Congress under penalty of perjury that he was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program to which I was denied access. Grush claims that in his role as National Reconnaissance Office liaison to the Pentagon's UAP task force, he interviewed 40 witnesses within the U.S. government and concluded that the state had captured alien craft and non-human biologics. Long a ridiculed subject, support for this serious investigation of UFOs was rekindled in 2017 when the New York Times published videos from 2004 of a white Tic Tac seen by Navy aviators off the California coast. The candy-shaped object was traveling at breakneck speeds and performing maneuvers thought to be impossible for human craft. Other whistleblowers who have learned about UAPs have given their own testimony to Congress, so I'm simply adding my voice to theirs in confirming their prior reports. As they have led the way by speaking out before me, I hope that my report may stimulate others to reveal whatever they have similarly witnessed.
So guys, is the floodgates open? Let me know in the comments down below, because I think they might just be open, okay? And wait for the updates to follow.
What we do here is go back.